Hey, sports fans, welcome back. I'm Kenny White with Don Best Sports. Today I'm going to talk about home field advantage in betting and how to cap it. This is a great subject. I've been very fascinated in this subject for many years. John Brinkus asked me to come to a sports science episode out in LA, about early 2000s, and he wanted me to talk about home field advantage. What sports had the biggest home edge and why? And it was a great time for me to really dig in deep and study it and figure out what home field advantage is. And home field advantage is an extremely loud crowd that dictates the officials' calls in a game. And that's really about it. Sometimes it'll get your team going. It'll make them play a little bit step faster. Communication can be a little bit better for your team than the opponent if the crowd's extremely loud. But really what it is those loud venues, that home team gets more calls from the officials or referees or umpires than the opponent does. And baseball is one sport with the least amount of home edge. You know why? The crowds really don't get that loud. A place like Houston, where they bang on garbage cans to win, they have a very loud crowd, though. When that dome is closed, that will create an umpire calling more strikes for the Houston pitcher and more balls for the opponent when that crowd's really loud. So that will happen in baseball, but the biggest home sport advantages are college football and college basketball, because those college crowds, get so crazy and so loud. And you know what? There is some intimidation there for younger players because they're not professional players. But boy, it is when you look through the research and you see those home field advantages and how many penalties are called for and against the opponents in those situations. Big difference. And I want you to remember something. Home field advantage is only as good as the team. If your team is really good, obviously you're going to get great crowds. If teams are not very good and there's nobody going to games and there's no crowd noise, you can't give that team a home advantage in that game. You can't give them any points. It's not worth anything. The visitor's the better football team. They're coming in, they're not intimidated. They really don't care where they're playing. The field's the same size they normally play on, they practice on. The crowd isn't into the game because they know their team is a weak football team or weak basketball team. Very little home advantage. Travel, that's a little different thing. When you're looking at travel, we're talking about going to Mile High City or something, going to East Coast or West Coast early in the morning. That's a travel that you're going to figure into your handicapping, but not a home advantage. You're looking at home advantages. Remember, if the visitor's the better team, the less and less home advantage you'll give to that home team. Hey, stick around here at Don Best Sports for more great betting information to help you beat your guy.